Hello everybody! Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and I'm a 24-year-old budgeter here in Washington State, living off of one income as a stay-at-home mom. And today guys, I want to talk to you about getting 1 month ahead on your bills, what that looks like, why you should do it, why it's even important, and a few tips on how you can get there. So guys, as we all know, or as I can say from my personal experience, my husband and I, we used to live paycheck to paycheck. And what does that mean? So essentially living paycheck to paycheck is you are waiting to get paid to be able to buy anything. At least that's the way that I interpret it. And that's exactly what we used to go through. We couldn't buy anything until the next time that my husband got paid. We couldn't pay any of our bills until that paycheck hit our accounts, and essentially our hands were tied until the next time that my husband got paid. And we lived this way for a while as a single couple, no kids, we only had our dog, and honestly it didn't really bother us. And that was until we had our daughter. And if any of you guys are parents out there, or honestly, even if you're a pet parent, you know that sometimes there's days where your children need you, even your pets need you, and you have to call out of work. And this made it extremely difficult for us because there were times where I needed my husband to be home with us, where I was sick and I couldn't watch our baby, or our baby was sick and I just really needed his support here at home. And that was a luxury for us. He could not stay home because we could not pay the bills, even if he missed one day of work. So that's when we knew, okay, there's a problem here. This isn't working. We need to somehow be able to have money ahead of time, so that way we're not living paycheck to paycheck. So that way, if I do need a mental health day so that my husband can stay home and help around here with the family, or even if my husband is sick, or even if he needs like a mental health day. It was such a luxury for us, and we wanted to get out of that cycle so that it wouldn't be a luxury, but rather it would be like, you know what, this is something that I need and I'm going to take it for myself. I'm going to stay home today. I'm going to take care of my family or take care of myself. So how did we get there? Essentially what we did was we set a goal to save up enough for 1 month of living expenses. And that made us 1 month ahead of every bill cycle. So whenever my husband would get paid, that money that we got was going to be going to the following month's bills. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. So there is a way that I have tried many times and it didn't work for me, but I found a new way that I really like, and I want to show it to you guys. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to write down all of your bills, all of them. However, I want you to write down all of your bills from smallest to largest. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first bill that I have is Netflix, and that is a total of $8. Next, I have Disney Plus, and that is a total of $12. Next, I have Spotify, and that is a total of $18. Next, I have gym, and that's $38. Next, I have phone, and that is also $38. Next, I have our life insurance, and that is a total of $98. Then I have electric, gas is $150. And then I have, let's see, where are we at? Electric and gas. And then I have our regular insurance, and that is $277. And then I have my husband's car payment, so I'll put Toyota, and that is $500. And then last but not least, I have our rent, which is $1,100. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this all up, and I'm going to show you guys the way that I used to do it and the way that I like to do it now. Okay, so do 8, 12, 18, 38, 38, 98, 150, 277, 500, and 1,100. So a total of 2,236. So for us to be 1 month ahead on our bills, I have to save a total of $2,236. And so what would happen is I would always try to save this amount. And when you look at this amount, that can be very daunting, especially on a single income, which is what we were on, and we still are on a single income. So looking at that amount in the 2,000s, 3,000s, maybe even 4,000s, it's like, there's no way I'll ever be 1 month ahead. Like, how do I just start saving for something like that? Even if I broke it down over 2 months, 3 months, how am I ever gonna hit that number? That just seems so intimidating. And so for us, we kept trying, and then we would have to restart, and it just felt like really disappointing, and it really felt like we kept failing. So I wanna show you guys the way that I do it now, and how since I've done this, not only have we been able to get 1 month ahead, but we have also been able to build an almost 6 to 12 month emergency fund because of this. So let me show you guys how we did it instead of trying to tackle this large number. And it's very simple. What we did instead is, instead of tackling this large number, we broke it down like this, which is what you'll do anyways. You'll list all of your expenses all the way from smallest to largest, and every time you get paid, or every time you make a little bit of money, and I'll also go over tips on how to increase your income, you're gonna go ahead and look at each one as a goal. So, for example, say you get your paycheck, right? And you're like, how do I even put money at this? Instead, what I want you to do is write all of your numbers down and put a little box next to every single one of them. And what you can do is either if you like the cash method, totally do the cash method, or perhaps you can have a separate account in your banking account and just call it month ahead on bills. And every time that you get paid, take a look at your list and go over your budget and ask yourself, can I put aside an extra $8? And if you can, cross it off and put that $8 in the account, or get yourself an envelope. And literally, guys, when I started this, I used regular envelopes. I got about 100 of them from the Dollar Tree. So $1.25 for 100 envelopes, perfect, because I don't have 100 categories here, but 100 envelopes should definitely be able to cover you. And go ahead and take your envelope, and let me show you guys. Regular envelope, and I went ahead and I just wrote on it Netflix and $8. I would go ahead and stuff this with $8, and once I reach the $8, I'm gonna close this up and set it aside. And who knows, because you're starting with such, at least for myself, we start with such small numbers, because like usually it's like if you have subscriptions, those are usually smaller, the smaller ones we have first. Maybe on this paycheck, not only could I do Netflix, but maybe I could also do Disney. So now I crossed off 2. And essentially, I'm sure you guys understand what I'm saying, is that you just go down your list and you do it the same exact way. You take a look at your budget, you take a look at your income, and you think, can I set aside $2,236 on this paycheck? And usually the answer is no. Even for us back then, there was no way we could set aside this much in just off of one paycheck. But we definitely could set aside an extra $8. We could definitely set aside $18. We could even set aside $38 if we chose not to eat out that week. And that is exactly how we were able to get 1 month ahead on our bills. Because instead of trying to tackle this huge, intimidating number, break up each bill and make each bill a goal. And trust me, guys, every time you get to fill it in one envelope and you get to close it up, set it aside, the next time you take a look at your handful of envelopes that all have all the money ready for your bills for the next month, not only is that going to feel so rewarding, not only is it so beneficial for you, but it's one less bill to think about for the next month to come up. And it's one less thing to worry about, especially living in the economy that we do. You know, mental health is such an important thing, guys. And the last thing that you want for yourself is to have to go to work when you know you need a day. When you know maybe you even need to just take 2 hours off of your day to really recollect yourself, but you can't because you have to have these bills paid. So doing this will get you out of that cycle. And honestly, for us, once we got out of that cycle, the weight off of our shoulders was just unbelievable. I no longer felt like I couldn't ask my husband to stay home if I needed help with our children. And now I can, because now we have this luxury from using this method, treating each individual bill as its own accomplishment, and being able to get down this list. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, all right, it's not too bad to hit $18, $38, maybe even $98. It's not too bad. But what about when I start to get to the higher numbers, such as your car payments, your insurance, car insurance, your rent? Because trust me, once we got there, that's when it was like, oh man, okay, pump the brakes. It's kind of going slower now. It's not so easy to hit another bill milestone with just our regular paycheck. So I want to tell you guys some things that my family and I did to be able to increase our income. Number one, of course, ask for a raise from work. If it's an appropriate time to do so, definitely do so that you can increase your regular income. But I know for a lot of people that is not something that just happens regularly, neither for my husband. But there were some other things we did, such as increasing our income through side hustles. I mean, if we're here in 2024, you guys, if you don't have a side hustle now, I'm sure you know somebody that does. We were out here, I was selling cupcakes and cakes and chocolate covered strawberries, just anything that I could to make $20, $30 here and there. Some other things you can maybe take a look at is like babysitting, watching nieces and nephews. Or another thing that I really like is, I've discussed this before on my channel about how sometimes we have a free paycheck. And what that means is, whenever I do our budget breakdown, I calculate it for 2 paychecks to pay our monthly bills. But occasionally my husband, with an extra week in the month, he will get paid 3 times, and we only need 2 of those paychecks to go towards bills. So on that 3rd extra paycheck, we will just put all of that towards getting a month ahead on our bills. Another thing would be, if it's your birthday and say somebody gives you money, set aside that money for your month ahead. Another thing could be a huge one, your tax return. I mean, we're in August, almost September, so our tax returns are going to come up. If you guys are able to get a tax return, maybe consider putting all of that into an account, and next thing you know, you're maybe already halfway or even more on your month ahead on bills. Another thing could be selling things around your house. I mean, around in my area, we have like Facebook Marketplace. People love to sell stuff on there. You could totally do that. If selling some clothes, or even on like OfferUp, maybe selling a stool or something. And in the beginning, it might be like, oh man, like that's $10 here, $12 here. But you know what? Over time, that adds up. Or maybe even doing something like Uber Eats or DoorDash, driving around, Ubering for people. And that's just a couple ideas, guys. And really, it's such a short-term sacrifice of trying to increase your income to be able to hit this milestone that maybe it would only take you 2 or 3 months. For us, it definitely took a little bit longer than that because, like I said, we're living off of a single income. But trust me, guys, once you get there and you have that amount just sitting in your bank account, the amount of relief that you'll feel knowing that you're no longer living to paycheck, and you're no longer waiting for a paycheck to hit your account to be able to make a payment on a bill is so immensely amazing. And I really hope that you guys can get there too, because trust me, once you do, there's just no going back. There's nothing like it. It is absolutely amazing, and I know that each and every one of you guys can get there too. And after you do this, after you're 1 month ahead, you can then start thinking about an emergency fund. And I know a lot of people are like, I have an emergency fund. And you know what? I thought I did too. Boy, was I wrong. I did not have an emergency fund because I wasn't even 1 month ahead of my bills. So in my next video, I will talk to you guys about what an emergency fund is, where you should be keeping that money, and how much you should have in it, and how to calculate it based off of your own income and your own living expenses. I can't wait to see you guys in my next video, but I want to give a huge thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel based off of my last video. You guys, my heart was just bursting at the seams of all the amount of support and likes and views that I got on the video, and the comments that I received on that video was unlike anything that I had ever received before, and it just really solidified my passion and love for budgeting and being able to share it with you guys, and reading people's comments who said, I want to go ahead and try this, like I think I'm gonna try this out. Like literally guys, that is so surreal to me that I put something out there on the internet and I got such positive feedback that people were saying that they're gonna try it. Is just mind-blowing to me. So thank you guys so much for that. It just I mean, like I'm like literally still speechless from that. I just can't believe it. So thank you guys so much.